Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. So today I wanted to do a review of different types of boric acid that I have used. So for those of you that don't know what boric acid is, it was kind of, I think, like a pesticide from way back when. And it became kind of like, a home remedy for, vaginal infections and things like that. It is not to be ingested. It is usually inserted vaginally, and that's how it's used. If you guys have been watching this channel, I have been having issues with recurrent infections and things like that. And I've done everything. I've tried everything. Granted, my health issues are part of the reason why I keep getting those recurrent infections. Has nothing to do with, being, sanitary or clean or anything like that. It's just, when you have immune system dysfunction. I also just got diagnosed with endometriosis, so that could also be a part of it. You tend to have persistent recurrent infections that just don't seem to go away with anything. And I'm not saying that these have cured me or anything like that. I was actually recommended by a gynecologist and an infectious disease doctor to try boric acid because nothing else was working. It has not cured me, but I feel like it works okay for maintenance, and then it helps me to just stay away from antibiotics. At this point, I've kind of accepted the fact that I'm just gonna have a lingering infection. And so I use boric acid, for short periods of time as needed, just to keep things feeling a little bit more balanced. But there are some drawbacks. So we'll talk about those. The boric acid has, like I said, it's kind of like an old remedy, but it can be very irritating. And so different companies are starting to kind of catch on to that, and they're starting to make different formulations, different types of boric acid applications. And so I actually have tried several of them. And I think this is going to be very helpful for a lot of people because, there's lots of different versions out there, and depending on your age, you may want to try or prioritize one of them based on, whether you're in perimenopause or menopause. So we'll go through that. So I'm going to start with the basic type of boric acid that you've probably seen. They have it at Target, at Amazon, at anywhere. You can make your own capsules. I actually used to make my own capsules because you could actually get boric acid in powder form and then just put it in a regular gel capsules. This brand is called V Well, and it's just a plain capsule with a powder inside. This is my least favorite form now that I've tried other forms. You can have issues with these if you suffer from dryness. So if you're in perimenopause or menopause, these might not be for you. You're supposed to insert them. They're supposed to dissolve, and then it kind of causes you to have discharge. And so that extra moisture that it causes you to make, it keeps you moisturized. I don't think that's the case. I don't think it works that way for everybody. I've noticed that I'll put these in there and they just disappear, and I just don't see them come out. That means that they're stuck in there. The capsule probably dissolves, but the rest of the stuff is just stuck in there and it's dry, and it's more likely to irritate you. So this is my least favorite application of this. They are the most cost effective though, because you can get 30 of these for like $10 on Amazon. These are 600 milligram capsules. That appears to be the standard dosage for boric acid. So this is the most cost effective if you want to start with these, but I don't like these. And like I said, minimal ingredients, boric acid, and a gel capsule. So the second one that I tried, we're going from one extreme to the other. I don't even have them with me because I already finished them. And it's the EV boric acid suppositories, also 600 milligrams. The drawback with these is that you have to do the EV test. If you don't know what EV is, I think I have a whole review of the company on my channel. It's a vaginal microbiome test. You have to buy it. It costs like $160, something like that. So on top of the fact that you're having to spend $160 for the test, You do get a free, like, well, included with the cost of the test, you get to talk to a like health coach, and then they usually will tell you like, use this, this, and this. And one of the things that you can use for the issues that you're having are their own suppositories. They have them compounded at a pharmacy. So they're like a suppository. They're like a waxy suppository. I'm trying to see if I have some that I could show you guys. I don't have any that are out of the package, but they tend to come like looking like that. They're a waxy suppository like Prep H, but they have boric acid, and the base is composed of like palm oil or something like that. And you can only get it if you've done a test through Evie. They cost like $40, $39, which is basically $40 for 12. Okay, so I just said you could get 30 of these for $10 or 12 of these for almost $40. I don't think so. For whatever reason, I thought that they had more ingredients, but they don't. It's just the boric acid and that base of that waxy base, which is composed of like palm oil. And so there really isn't anything else. And you're paying $40 for literally like, those two ingredients. It's just not, and you can't get them unless you test through Evie and unless it's part of your treatment protocol. So it feels like a waste of money, and you'll see why as I go through this list, because I kind of found a dupe for these, and I'll mention that in a little bit. I don't recommend them, to be honest, and I'll show you what else you could use in place of these. The third one on the list that's also a bit pricey is actually these that I have in my hand. It's the Vagibiome Boric Acid plus Probiotics plus Prebiotics Vaginal Microbiome Balancing Formula. It's a lot. Now, we went from the Evie ones that have like 2 ingredients to these that have every ingredient that you've ever heard of. And it kind of doesn't make sense to me. So boric acid, from what I've been told by doctors, boric acid has antiseptic qualities. Boric acid should, I've heard different things. I've heard that boric acid cannot kill bacteria. I've heard that boric acid can kill bacteria. What boric acid is used for is to kill the biofilm, to break down the biofilm that protects the bacteria. For example, bacterial vaginosis has this biofilm, and boric acid can break down that biofilm so that when you use antibiotics afterwards, it can actually reach the bacteria. But from what some doctors have told me, it actually does have antiseptic properties, meaning it can kill bacteria. But that doesn't make sense to put it in a suppository. These are the suppositories that I just showed you guys. A suppository that also contains probiotics. Let me read the list for you. It contains coconut triglyceride fatty acids, boric acid, 500 milligrams. This is the only formulation that has 500 instead of 600. Glycerin, colloidal silicone dioxide, coconut oil, lecithin, tea tree oil, and the probiotics. L. crispatus, L. gasseri, L. acidophilus, Bacillus coagulans. It also contains lactic acid, hyaluronic acid, hydrolyzed maltodextrin, urea, fructose, arginine, and serine. A lot of stuff, but if boric acid kills bacteria, I'm not sure why they would put it together with bacteria. I mean, it's probiotics, but it's still bacteria. So I'm not sure how effective these are. I still have a few left. I will definitely use them and see, if it helps with like the good bacteria. But these are also very expensive. These are $34.95, so close to the price of the Evie ones, and you only get 10. So probably around the same price as the Evie ones. Probably more expensive because the Evie one you get 12. So yeah, they're around like the same price point. And it does have that waxy like Prep H type of base because it has all kinds of stuff in it. In my opinion, I would not, I would question how effective they are given that they have boric acid as well as bacteria in them. And if boric acid is antiseptic, I imagine that it could kill the bacteria. I don't know. I'm not a scientist, but you also don't want to waste your money and not know for sure, right? Especially if you want the probiotics, to actually work and to grow in there, because the more good bacteria you have, the less likely you are to get an infection with like bad bacteria. So again, very expensive. There are better alternatives. You can also just buy probiotics on their own. This company also makes probiotic suppositories without the boric acid. I probably would rather spend my money on that, because then at least I know I can separate out the boric acid from the probiotic, and I know that it's not there killing off the good bacteria. The fourth one, so this one is very interesting. This is a gel. So this is a very different type of application. It's the PhD vaginal moisturizing gel with boric acid, hyaluronic acid, and vitamin E. I actually don't have the box for this, so I don't know what the dosage of boric acid is for this. And you have to have one of those like plastic applicators. So I don't have the rest of the information for it. I have tried it. This one contains aloe, xanthan gum, boric acid, lactic acid, coconut oil, vitamin E, hyaluronic acid, potassium sorbate, and sodium benzoate. So it does have moisturizing things. Hyaluronic acid, vitamin E, and coconut oil are all very moisturizing and emollient. And so they should give you like a little bit of that moisturizing quality. I did use this and I found it kind of irritating, but you also have to keep in mind, I'm very, very sensitive everywhere. My sinuses are very sensitive. My mouth is very sensitive. My skin is very sensitive. So if you like something that is more of a gel, this looks like just a clear gel. It's a little bit watery too. So if this is your jam, I guess kind of like lube, you might want to try this. This is the messiest one of all of these because it is a gel. It's not in a capsule. You put it in there and you better be laying down and going to sleep, because this stuff will probably just come out. I think the longer you have it in there, it kind of absorbs, because I didn't notice like a ton of stuff coming out in the morning. But I don't know, I felt that it was irritating, but I'll have to try it again. I've only tried it once so far. And again, it's a gel base, and, I'm pretty sure I'll be needing all this stuff, in the future anyway. So I have plenty of time to try it again. And again, that's $14.99. It's $15 at Target. If you buy it at Target, I did not buy mine at Target. If you buy it at Target, it comes with the applicators and it tells you how to dose it and everything. And the box probably tells you what the dosage of boric acid is, because I don't have the box, so I don't know what the dosage of that is. I think there are better options though from the same brand. And we will get to that one next. My favorite thing that I have tried so far, I happened to be at CVS. I happened to be at CVS the other day picking up a prescription, and I passed through, and when you go to CVS, they give you your receipt, and it's got like 10,000 coupons. It's like a mile long. And I was going through like the feminine care aisle, and I saw this, and this is PhD moisturizing boric acid vaginal suppositories. This, I would say, is a really good dupe for those EV suppositories. Probably a better dupe, in my opinion. Why would you buy that for $40? It's got 2 ingredients, and you actually don't have access to it unless you pay for one of their tests. When you can get this at the drugstore, it does retail for $18. Let's just say $20 when you count in tax and all of that. But then you've got that mile-long coupon thing. I had a 40% off and then $1 off. I was able to get this for around $12. And you get, I think it's like 12. How many do you get here? 14. You get 14. These are actually kind of a little bit different. They're not that waxy like Prep H thing. So 14 of these for $20 beats 12 for $40. And if you've got the coupons, you can get 14 for like $12 or maybe even less, depending on how many of those coupons you've got. Always check your coupons, because CVS prices are kind of ridiculous unless you have those coupons. So these are like a fish oil pill. I don't know if you've ever taken fish oil and it has that like soft gel. It's not this hard like clear capsule. It's like a soft kind of gel type of capsule. These are like that. So this is almost like a fish oil type of capsule. It's a soft gel type of situation. And one of the cool things inside, let me tell you what it's got inside. So this one has coconut oil. It has your boric acid. This has your standard 600 milligrams of boric acid. It has your vitamin E oil, which is recommended if you have like dryness. So your coconut oil, boric acid, vitamin E oil, and that gelatin capsule thing. So if you look closely, the ingredients are inside, but they're kind of like in their liquid form, right? Like the coconut oil is kind of cloudy looking when it's not solid. So they're kind of like liquidy form. The cool thing about these, I find these to be the most versatile of all of these. The cool thing that I've been doing is I put it in the fridge before, like an hour or two before I insert it. That way when I take it out, it's actually kind of solid. It's actually kind of a little bit hard. And then you can put it in those applicator things and stick it up in there. Or you can do it with your hand. But it's more solid if you put it in the refrigerator, so it's easier to put it in there. Because I know, you know, if you think about a fish oil pill, you're like, that thing is kind of soft. And it could get a little bit, you know, if you squeeze it too hard, it'll pop, right? These you could put in the fridge. Makes it easier to apply. And then you have a little bit of time before you lay down and before it starts melting. I think these are pretty cool. I want to say that I didn't notice as much irritation with these as with some of the other ones. I think I still do get irritated no matter what, because I'm just, you know, I just have a lot of issues in that area, a lot of inflammation. I get the same thing in my sinuses. I get the same thing with my skin. I'm just very sensitive. I think these would work for normal people, normal, not chronically ill people, and maybe a lot of chronically ill people. And if you cannot afford, which to be honest, I couldn't afford those $40 ones from Evie. I was getting them because I didn't know these existed. I have a feeling that these are relatively new because I've never seen something like this on the market. Most of the capsule form are going to look like this. And the closest thing to the EV ones that I found were these, which were the probiotic ones that contain the boric acid, and that's why I had purchased these, because I was trying to dupe that other one, and they're basically the same price. I don't even know why I did that. These I think are going to be, you know, a game changer for a lot of people. And this brand, this PhD brand, if you're looking for any form of boric acid, they've got all the forms. They've got these gel caps, they've got the other gel, and they also have like a douche, which I've also tried. Not my favorite. I'm not really including it in this review because I feel like it's kind of useless, but it's like these pre-filled like little accordion looking douche things, and you squeeze them in there. It's like liquid with boric acid. I don't see the point because it just comes back out. I feel like this is the most bang for your buck, especially if you have those coupons. And just how, you know, just the way that they're made, I think that this was genius. This is what I would recommend. An honorable mention, if you're trying to kind of make your own, or if you already have these capsules and, you know, you're trying to use them up, but they're drying you out too much, you can get the Carlson's vitamin E suppositories, or if you just need moisture without the boric acid, the Carlson's vitamin E suppositories can be soothing. I bought them, I forgot how much they were, but again, it's, you know, if you're buying separate ingredients, it's always going to be more expensive, but if you just need moisture, these are always recommended. I feel like they can trigger an infection though, or they can make your infection worse if your infection is not treated. I've used them a few times because I've gotten, from using so much boric acid, I have gotten like really irritated and really inflamed. So I keep some of these on hand. But I think like if you're, you know, more or less normal in that area, you do suffer from some recurrent infections, yeast infections or whatever, I definitely think these other things, particularly these would probably be helpful for you. So, from this point on, I think I'm just going to be using these. And they're at your CVS. They're probably going to be at Target as well, because Target carries a lot of the pH stuff. Very accessible. It's very upsetting to me that these other companies have sort of cornered the market, like Evie, where you have to buy a $160 test, and then your health coach has to, or the doctor that's reviewing your results, has to see, like, okay, this person has a lot of bad bacteria, so let's recommend boric acid. There's a lot of hoops to jump through. And when you're not feeling well, and when you have, or even just like after your period, you just want to pop one or two in there, you're not going to be waiting for all of this and then purchasing it and then getting it shipped to you. It's just, I actually, by the way, I contacted the compounding company that makes the suppositories for Evie to see if I could purchase them without having to go through Evie. And they were like, no, you can't. So that kind of thing I think is very unfair, especially for women. This kind of stuff, it should be available over the counter. And these have more ingredients than the Evie one, more moisturizing ingredients. So I'm just, when I saw those, I was like, I have to try them. I have to get those. I've tried just about every different type of boric acid that you can possibly think of, including making my own capsules. That's how I started using boric acid, and that was not a good idea. So I definitely think that that's probably the way to go. Don't waste your money on other stuff. I've been kind of disillusioned with like Evie and all of those like testing companies lately, because none of them are perfect, and you could have deeper issues. It's just important to see a doctor. That's all it is. It's just important to see a doctor at the end of the day. So anyways, thank you so much for joining me. Please like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. Take care.